I think he has a couple of top 8s under his belt.
So I'd venture to say that these guys, well, somehow they ended up on the same list. I don't know if they know each other and worked on it that
They're
way.
from the same area.
It's also Jund, and Jund gets very homogeneous. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of an acceptable kind of group of cards, and you could shave numbers here and there. I mean,
absolutely, and it looks like that these numbers, I mean, they didn't arrive on the same 75 by accident, so it's possible that this was in an article that I missed, or they worked together and decided upon exactly one of this, exactly 2 of this, exactly 1 of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, but the most relevant numbers are going to be the win conditions. The win conditions in the various players' decks are 4 Huntmaster of the Fells, 4 Thragtusk, 3 Olivia Valderon. You should also be aware of 2 Kessig Wolf Run in both players' decks.
Yeah, they can be huge.
There's also 2 Garrick Primal Hunter in both players' decks. Those are the cards.
Yeah, of course, Bonfire can sometimes play.
Bonfire can help, but it's
Yeah.
not going to do it by itself. Same with Rakdos Return, and same with Liliana of the Veil. While that can take over a game, it will not do it by itself. So those are the cards we're going to look out for. Those are the 11 creatures and 2 planeswalkers that are going to be the win conditions. And we'll see which person, because Jund is very grindy, and it's going to end up being who ends up with the last of the win conditions.
It's a funny little game of hot potato. Musical chairs, sort of.
Not a lot of Jund in the room when I was walking around.
Yeah, you actually tweeted something earlier about something about the different numbers of decks that you
yeah, there's a lot more Bant Hexproof than I anticipated. This deck very well set up for Bant Hexproof with the main deck Liliana of the Veil, among others. There's a Gaze of Granite in the sideboard, for example, to be able to deal. And also very good against the Naya aggro decks because you have early defensive cards like Huntmaster of the Fells.
Right. All right, well, we're underway. Joey gets us started with a turn 2 Thoughtseize, and Devin has
Thoughtseize?
a turn... I'm sorry, why did I just say Thoughtseize?
That's what you're expecting from Jund.
No. Just in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man.
Jund will have
covering this
Why?
modern turn.
Yeah, thank you for. I don't know where
Joey,
my brain went.
Joey, while this Joey doesn't know where he is, that Joey is going to play Farseek on turn 2, and Devin is going to play Ground Seal on his turn 2. Not the greatest card ever. So Bonfire for 2 off the top from Joey Mispagel. Must not have a ton of action, because I feel like I would have kept that most of the time. Devin's not going to play out either of the Olivias that he has in hand.
Yeah, likely going to hold on for...
So Joey does not have another land either. Oh, Devin doesn't have a 4th land.
Yeah.
I just, in my mind, he had played Farseek, I suppose.
No, that was Joey, but it was not Thoughtseize. No, so he discards his Olivia.
I guess that Ground Seal didn't come in to play? That's a discarded Ground Seal?
That seems odd.
So we're going to putrefy this Thragtusk. There's a sheep. Sort of a beast, why not?
It's beastie.
Devin finds himself his 4th land in the form of Stomping Ground. This is going to allow him to cast Olivia Voldaren, most likely. You also see an Abrupt Decay in Devin's hand. Both of these players have 2 copies. Devin's instead going to play Huntmaster of the Fells. Seems like a better idea as your first play of the game.
Yeah, you got to assume your opponent's got removal, so may as well throw out the guy who's a little more resilient to the removal than putting an Olivia, which is quite a not as resilient to removal, but also just one of the cards you really want to stay.
There's the Kristen Pleskow Wolf token.
Is it Pleskow or Plesko?
I think it's Plesko, I think.
Plesko.
Well, that's a much better Bonfire of the Damned.
Yeah, another Bonfire for Joey.
Taking out the Plesko and I don't actually know who did Huntmaster of the Fells. Cliff Searly?
Might be,
or Kearley?
Yeah, something. I think that might be it. We're going to find out if we get Huntmaster on the screen.
And so there's the second Bonfire. That one's much more efficient.
Kearley.
There we go.
I didn't know how to pronounce it.
So here's Garrick Primal Hunter. Now, let's put Garrick Primal Hunter up on the screen. I'm sure you guys are used to it by now. but Garrett Primal Hunter is a very, very powerful Magic card.
Yeah.
Plus one ability of being able to put a 3/3 onto the battlefield. I think that's the largest creature that a +1 ability of any Planeswalker can make.
I'm almost positive, yeah.
Previous to this, it was Nissa Ravane could make a 2/3.
Yeah. But it needed to be in your deck.
It needed to be, exactly. You needed to have Nissa's Chosens in your deck. The -3, very relevant here, being able to be a sort of a Sphinx's Revelation for the Jund decks, especially with cards like Thragtusk and Kessig Wolfrun, able to add to the power, being able to draw more than just the 3 that can make off of the Garrett Primal Hunter.
And
So-
Mizium Mortars from Joey will take out the opposing beast, and then his beast will do some work against Garrett, knocking him to 1.
Yep. The Garrett will not die, though, which
Nope.
means that another beast is going to come into play, and so will another beast in the form of Thragtusk.
Yeah.
Always carry 2 spears. Neither of these players are playing Searing Spear.
No.
I always liked that those 2 cards were in the same set together. And the flavor texts interacted with each other. I just think that's funny. So, Joey has yet another Bonfire of the Damned in hand. Not
that's-
ideal.
Right, that's his third, right? Because that's his third of 3.
That's the third of 3. That might have been in his opening hand, which is why he miracled the first one that we saw.
Sure, yeah. So Ground Seal just draws him a card, passes back to Devin. Devin's going to swing in with Thragtusk and Beast. Gives Joey the opportunity to either trade beasts or deal with the front side of the Thragtusk. Looks like he's going front side there, I think.
Yeah, almost certainly front side of the Thragtusk here.
And
And
Abrupt Decay in response.
Yep. After blocks, I think.
Yeah.
Pretending to target that ground
yeah,
seal.
you mean the Ground Seal, right?
Looks like Devin's just going to keep making his army. We're getting very quickly to the point where Joey's going to be unable to catch back up, even if he plays land 7 and Bonfire for 3 here, because he's going to have to tap out, and Joey has no other action in hand. So even if he plays his land here, there's an Abrupt Decay, that doesn't really help.
Yeah.
So even if Bonfire for 3 happens, we're going to kill the Garrett, we're going to kill all of the creatures.
Right, leaving Devin with 1 beast.
Devin will still have 1 beast, he will still have an Olivia in hand, and Joey will have only Sever the Bloodline and Abrupt Decay. Still a very good play from Joey. It was a play he needed to make.
Yeah, at this point, he just essentially cleared the board, leaving just a beast. I mean, that was much
I
better.
thought Devin had another Olivia. Well, apparently not. Devin still, of course, has the beast token, which will most likely hit the bricks thanks to Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, not before getting in a little bit of damage here. Knocks Joey back to his original 20, and we just have a pass.
Joey
Draws
has a hand
Sever.
full of elimination spells. There's
Yeah.
one of them. Take out the beast token. Now we've gotten to the point in the game where, like I said, it's going to devolve to who can land the last
The last threat.
threat.
Right, yeah. And at
Because
this
both
point,
of these decks have so many answers
yeah.
that the number of threats is very relevant.
Pretty sure Joey's hand is Mizium Mortar Sever the Bloodline. I don't know exactly what's in Devin's hand.
Devin, I believe, also has Mizium Mortar Sever the Bloodline.
Wow. Okay.
Possibly also Abrupt Decay. I think he has 3 elimination spells, and Joey has 2. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a grind, and we're going to have a top decking quote unquote race
Yeah.
to see who can actually
Abrupt
land
Decay off the top.
the 4th, I guess, elimination spell. That's another Abrupt Decay. There's a Thragtusk.
Thragtusk.
That is one of the better ones that he could top deck because he has, of course, needs 2 spears to deal with it.
Yep. Dreadbore was one of the other cards in Devin's hand.
There's
Finds a
another
Farseek.
Farseek.
So Devin's hand, I believe, Sever Mortars, Dreadbore.
Tragic Slip
Okay.
was the last card that I believe Devin has. And so, Yep, Sever the Bloodline's going to remove Tragic Slip from the game, or Tragic Slip, remove Thragtusk from the game,
Wow,
making a 3/3, leaving up 2 mana for Abrupt Decay,
Yep.
should he so choose to use it on the beast. Devin at the much lower life total though, so he's getting dangerously close to, as you can see, Kessig Wolf Run range, of course, but much closer to Rakdos Return range.
Yeah, everything in the Kessig Wolf Run. Do you have the removal
make
spell?
him have
yes,
it.
I do.
There's Kessig Wolf Run, there on the left. Popular piece of many different archetypes, including Wolf Run Bant
Yep.
and the Primeval Titan deck of old, where it would target Inkwell or Inkmoth Nexus.
I believe it was Brian Sondag playing a Primeval Titan Kessig Wolf Run deck back in Nashville a couple of years ago. Won the event. The first Wolf Run deck when Wolf Run first
It
was
didn't
in
have
Standard.
Valakut.
Yeah, it was like a Primeval Titan deck that didn't
So
have Valakut.
Bonfire off the top for Devin Koepke
Not
is
Bonfire.
going to drop
Rakdos
Joey
Return.
for Devin Koepke.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Bonfire drop Joel down to 13, but now Rakdos Return for 8 is going to drop Devin down to 6, leaving him with no cards in hand.
Joey
And
with just
Joey with a
answers.
handful of answers. Things are looking much better for Joey right now.
Devin, I believe that's at least his third, if not fourth, Farseek.
Yep.
Why do I
Devin's-
keep wanting to call that Thoughtseize?
I don't know, man.
Don't know. I almost did it again.
There's a Huntmaster. Once again, has 2 halves to it. Devin's going to need to be able to find Amizium Mortars or a Bonfire of the Damned off the top to be able to not die because of the Kessig Wolf Run on Joey's side of the board. Instead, he draws a... What do we draw?
He's having issues.
Amizium Mortars.
Mortars.
Oh, there you go. So we'll survive for another turn. Joey is going to need to find 1 threat before Devin finds 4.
Yeah.
So I think things still are heavily in Mr. Mispagel's favor.
I agree. He finds, an answer, I guess.
Neither of these players are playing Sire of Insanity in their entire 75.
That's
which
interesting.
Is interesting. It's a little bit of an evolution that I've actually seen these last couple weeks, because there's less and less blue decks. There are less and less Sphinx's Revelation decks, and even the Sphinx's Revelation decks, they don't really care about that much.
Well, or they're built to handle it. Like
This deck seems
War
like it's,
Leaders Helix. And
right. This deck
Venality.
absolutely seems like it's very well suited to be able to beat the blue, white, red decks that have been coming along. Very hard to deal with threats like Garruk Primal Hunter. It's very difficult for the blue, white, red deck to deal with, as well as Huntmaster of the Fells and Thragtusk that have 2 bodies. Another Farseek off the top for Joey, trying to get even more percentage points.
Yeah, both players now with just like a million Farseeks.
Yep. Tops of their libraries full of Farseeks. Joey, however, was able to find his Rakdos Return, which is... Ooh, but Devin finds his last Garruk Primal Hunter. Casts it and makes a guy.
All right.
So that's a much better threat, because I think Joey has the Dreadbore.
He does, I believe, have Dreadbore. There's an Olivia.
There's an Olivia, though. That's a pretty good
Oh, wait.
answer.
Maybe he doesn't have Dreadbore. I know Devin had
Well,
Dreadbore.
Olivia's a pretty good answer.
Sure.
Being able to turn the beast into a vampire if he so chooses. And then take control of it. So we're going to tap
Devin has
7 mana
flashback Sever the
to
Bloodline.
remove Olivia Volderon. We're just going to flick cards all over the place here.
Yeah.
And in response, he's going to take control of this beast, I assume.
Looks like it. Tap 2 mana for something. Poke the beast and.
Nope, he's just going to kill the beast
Oh, okay, that'll work.
and make another beast. I think that Joey realized just there that he could have killed the beast, but
Or stolen it.
there's a bonfire for 1 million. Is it enough?
Alright, 1,
3,
I don't think it's enough.
So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think it's exactly enough.
But doesn't Joey have another abrupt decay? I feel like Joey has something.
No, it's exactly 15.
Oh, it's exactly
16
15.
lands.
Sorry.
There's
Wow.
Devin's victory dance.
I thought you were counting enough.
No.
Counting the
Devin
beast
had
damage in there.
16 lands in play.
Wow.
And Joey was at 15 life. Devin able to miracle Garrett Primal Hunter and then miracle Bonfire.
That was
be able to
unreal.
take
Didn't
game
I?
one.
I mean,
Well, look at that.
when I mentioned Bonfire as the win condition, I didn't exactly mean it. In
Right,
that
I
case.
didn't mean it like that either.
Like literally.
But sometimes Fireball is just good enough.
3/4 of your
You've
life
got
total.
a grindy game like this. So moving to the sideboards, both players have the same sideboard.
That's what I thought. Okay. So yeah, this if he had stolen the beast, he would have just lost it when Olivia died.
Oh, sure, as long as you control Olivia. I see.
Right.
All right. So cards that are almost certainly coming in, 2 Slaughter games. I think both these players know that in the 75-card mirror match, taking away the most potent tool from your opponent is going to be very important.
Yeah.
Appetite for Brains, almost certainly coming in as well, being able to snag Huntmaster of the Fells, Thragtusk, Olivia, or Garrett Primal Hunter. Oh, by the way, those are the only win conditions. The extra Rakdos's return, very important to be able to gain an edge.
Yeah, we
Didn't
saw-
end up helping Joel there, but Joey there, but would have been quite helpful had he drawn one of his Garricks before Devin drew 2.
Yeah.
And then 2 Duress, I believe, will also come in, being able to take out Garrett Primal Hunters and Rakdos's returns before turn, 7 or 8.
Yeah, pretty much like all of that. What
Cards
about
that-
Barter and Blood?
I would highly doubt Barter and Blood's coming in.
It feels like, well, I guess it matches up okay with Huntmaster. That's where.
Yeah, that's the only one though. It does
Right.
not match up very well
with
with Thragtusk.
Thragtusk or Olivia. Yeah.
The cards that I anticipate coming out, I would expect Tragic Slip to come out. I also anticipate Abrupt Decay coming out, and Ground Seal. Now, that is not enough cards to take out if you want to bring in all the cards that I said to bring in. So we'll have to see what they decide on. Is Slaughter Games potent enough to bring in, for
Yeah.
example? Is removing all of the Thragtusks from the game a good enough reason to win in Slaughter Games?
So you brought in like 7 cards, right?
I brought in 8 cards,
What was it?
which was 2 Slaughter Games, 2 Appetite for Brains, 1 Rakdos Return, 1 Garrett Primal Hunter, and 2 Duress.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I took out 2 Ground Seal, 2 Abrupt Decay, 2 Tragic Slip, and that's it. So we would need to find 2 more cards to take out. It's possible we don't bring in the Duress, although Duress is a good trump for the Slaughter Games.
Right.
So, a couple other sub-games going on there.
Yeah, trying to figure out what makes the most sense to cut.
Yeah, I think that you want all of those 8 cards, and at that point you have to decide what's the thing that I can afford to cut. Is it the Rakdos' Key Rune?
Right. That was.
Is it the Liliana of the Veil? Almost certainly not the Liliana.
Right. I think he could possibly, they could, both of them could
Right.
could possibly go with Key Rune. But
Or is having everything that's currently in the deck more important than what you could sideboard in? Another realistic option is Putrefy. Putrefy's not very good against Huntmaster, not very good against Thragtusk, only really valuable against Olivia.
right.
I could see
It's
one
1-for-1,
or
where-
2 Putrefys. If they know each other's lists, then they would know that neither of them has Staff of Nin, which was a popular Jund card for a long time, although recently has been replaced by Deadbridge Chant as a way to garner card advantage because it does not get killed.
Also
by-
not in this.
Also not in these players'
Yeah.
decks. They don't have the 6-mana card advantage engine in either deck. But
They've got
Putre-
the 5-mana one.
Right.
Garrett.
in the Garrett Prime.
Yeah.
They have more sideboard spots devoted to dealing with other matchups, the Gaze of Granite and the Barter and Blood against the Bant Hexproof decks that are very popular in the room today. The full 4 Pillar of Flames to be able to deal with Junk Aristocrats should they come across Voice of Resurgence and the like. So going to be very interesting. You know, I haven't covered very many actual 75-card mirror matches.
Yeah, it's rare.
These are both very good players. They both have good, solid finishes. But I think that this match really, game one is very telling to me, in that everyone's going to kill everything.
Yeah, it's essentially just trading resources back and forth, back and forth
until people have lost all of their resources.
Sure. And then it comes down to bonfire.
Exactly, and then it comes down to bonfire. Now, with that said, if it comes down to just resources, do you cut Farseek? Because in this matchup, it's not like it's going to be fast.
Right.
Would you rather have, let's say, cut one of the Farseeks to, I mean, I understand that it also fixes your mana.
Right.
But we wanted to bring in 7, or we wanted to bring in 8, and we could only find 7. Maybe you cut a Farseek, because we saw how bad the top deck Farseeks were. So it's entirely possible that you just don't care about the mana acceleration. You care about the fixing.
Right. So you don't want to cut them all. But shaving one off doesn't seem that bad. And
I would rather have the second Putrefied over the 4th Farseek in this matchup, almost certainly. So Devin is going to be the first one to get to 4 mana, despite being on the draw.
Yeah, and that is because of Farseek. And he did indeed bring in the duress, as you suggested. And we see a Rakdos' return in there, nice and juicy.
Rakdos' return, 2 lands, including a Kessig Wolf Run. Mizia Mortars, also a target, as well as Thragtusk and Olivia Volderon. So Rakdos' return is going to hit the bin.
No surprise there.
Yep. That's the only discard spell that can hit the Rakdos return, because the Appetite for Brains cannot hit the X spell. Going to hand the hand right back to him, leaving up mana for what looks like Putrefy. Should Joey decide to tap out for Olivia here. He does not, I think that's correct. Devin finds Dreadbore. Does not find... Oh, no, he already had a 5th land. There's another Olivia. So at this point, he can start running Olivias out if he wants to.
Yeah, first I think it looks like he wants to. Yeah, he leads with the Thragtusk to try to eat up maybe some of the removal in Devin's hand.
Yep, Tragic Slip, Putrefy.
Yeah, I'll just deal with them both.
That's fine. That's that's a good old-fashioned 2 for 1.
Absolutely.
And if you count the 5 life, it's like a 2.5 for 1.
Right.
I don't know how many cards we when they did the math on Cruel Ultimatum, wasn't it like an 11 for 1? And the 5 life was half of a card. Or something like that?
Yeah.
So I think Joey's okay with that, with the Putrefy and Tragic Slip trading for that.
Yeah, it's exactly what he wanted to do. You know, he put the Thragtusk out there, assuming his opponent's going to remove it. It's exactly what Devin did. And I'm sure Joey would have done the same thing if it were reversed.
Both players continuing to make land drops. I think Devin's actually out of lands at this point, but he does have Sever the Bloodline and Dreadbore still in hand. Joey, meanwhile, 2 Olivias.
Of his 3 total.
There's the first one.
He's going to put one out there, potentially...
sort of test the waters.
Right. Maybe Devin doesn't have removal yet.
I would highly doubt it.
Yeah.
Out of Jund. There's a bonfire off the top.
Devin just says, there's bonfire. He's really good at this.
He's really good at the miracle bonfires. Joey's going to go down to 21. The half of card gained by the Thragtusk life gain didn't really help him there. Sever the Bloodline for Joey. I think this is going to be yet just another Olivia.
Which is likely going to eat a Dreadbore next turn.
Yep. With Devin only having 2 cards left in hand, I think that Joey can safely assume that both of them are elimination spells at this point. Although the way that Devin's playing, he's making it sort of seem like they might be Olivia's, because if Joey's saving it, then perhaps Devin is saving it.
Right.
So it's possible that that Devin has an Olivia here, which he does. There it is.
And so now...
So Joey's going to be able to untap, deal with the Olivia in one form or fashion or another.
Yeah. And
Now
potentially
Joey
land
drew
his own.
Bonfire of the Damned and didn't cast it, which I think is correct actually. Even though I think that what he did was he thought was a mistake. I think that keeping it for something more relevant to be able to take out multiple bodies, like Garruk Primal Hunter, like Huntmaster of the Fells, is actually more relevant here. And using the Mizzium Mortars is a much better use of resources.
And Garruk comes down for Joey Mispagel. Devin with no play on his turn. Garruk makes a beast for Joey.
Yep. Now Devin has a Dreadbore, so he's going to be able to take out this Garruk. So the Garruk is going to ask, just making sure there.
trying to
A little bit of gamesmanship
convince him
there.
to
And so
kill
we're
that
going to
beast.
sever the beast.
Kill that beast.
So now Devin's hellbent, and Joey still has that Olivia in hand that he saved
Yep.
for just such an occasion. And also Huntmaster of the Fells,
Yeah, so
which is
he-
probably a better option.
Yeah, he's going to go with Huntmaster now.
I completely agree that this is a better one. Multiple bodies. Devin only has so many cards in his deck that are able to deal with multiple creatures. Bonfire of the Damned, of course, being one of them. Overloaded Mizzium Mortars being one of them. But should he top deck something like Putrefy or
There's the Mizzium Mortars.
well, we overload Mizzium Mortars, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not
Devin
nearly.
is a top deck master.
He is.
He knows it too, at least
Yep.
from his
They're having
from
fun.
his
They
face.
know
Oh yeah.
that this matchup's just goofy and grindy, and on some level, it just gets absurd. I think that he just has to throw the Olivia in play at this point.
Which of course means Devin will top deck removal.
He did not play
He
it,
didn't play that, and so Devin
and
didn't
so
top
Devin
deck
didn't
it?
top deck removal. I think that there's a Sever the Bloodline in the graveyard. I see.
Yeah, well, we don't see because it's off screen, but
Right.
yeah,
So
that makes a lot more
Sever the Bloodline in the graveyard is going to be able to answer the Olivia.
Yeah, Joey's
If
trying
Joey
to
played
put
it.
bait out there for the.
Yes.
And
That's pretty good bait.
he's got a Thrag Tusk. So it also makes more sense why he played the first Olivia, thinking, you
Yeah.
know what, that way he knows I have an Olivia. I'll play Olivia. Now he doesn't know I have a second Olivia.
Dueling Banjos here.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. Joey plays Thrag Tusk. Devin just plays Thrag Tusk.
So there's Thrag Tusk. Joey with Sever the Bloodline in hand with 2 Thrag Tusks on the board, not exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, that's gonna. I don't think Devin wants to cast Sever either.
Agreed. Now,
So, yeah.
Joey has Bonfire in hand, remember. The game has developed in such a way that Joey can try and use that aggressively. So he's going to continue saving it because he has both of his
Looks like he might cast it here.
Kissing Wolf runs. I think that he's just going to trample here.
Yeah. It looked like he grabbed the bonfire. That's why.
He is going to Bonfire. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bonfire for 4. It's going to put Devin at 21 and make a Beast token. And then, is he going to attack with Thrag Tusk? Yeah, I think that's correct. Make Devin use Elimination. Duress is
off
going
the
to
top.
find a Sever the Bloodline in Joey's hand. Duress trades with half of a card for
Yeah.
Joey. Or for Devin, rather.
But the cat's out of the bag. Olivia
Yep.
now obviously
Figured it out.
Yeah. So yeah, Devin says go, and I'm not going to use that Sever on that Thrag Tusk unless he has another removal spell for Olivia.
At this point, Thrag Tusk can start beating in for a ton of damage if he so chooses.
Yeah, Joey's going to go ahead and Sever the Beast.
Yep. So it'll only be 5 this turn. Next turn it'll be way more if Devin happens to find a land or a Farseek on top of his deck, or even a Slaughter Games. There's a land. Yep. So it looks like Joey is in the catbird seat here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a Sever a Thrag Tusk. Not exactly where he wants to be.
But it just saved him quite a bit of...
Yeah, it saved him 2 damage.
It technically saved him 2, you're right.
But it also gives him out as an elimination spell on top of his deck. So this beast token is going to become
or just 3?
Is it just going to be 3? I guess it's just 3. Yeah. I probably would have done the 10 there.
He's going to go with the Olivia now that the Sever's gone. Devin's still hellbent.
Devin is a bonfire master though, so
he is. And I don't know what he's trying. Yeah. It's apparently not bonfire, but I can't imagine he would slow roll that if that were a bonfire. It's bonfire, but
yeah.
Oh, it's just a land. Okay.
The
next card was bonfire. He can't get too mad because of the way the first game ended.
Very animated player. I like having Devin in this feature match.
Me too.
This guy's a wild animal. It's awesome. So we're gonna go to game 3 here. Joey was better able to manage the resources that game.
Yeah.
We see a wild Caleb Durward and Adam Brozak in the background.
Yeah, look at that. Who was Caleb on? Did you happen to
Caleb, I believe, was playing generic Jund as well.
Generic Jund? Is this generic Jund?
Yes, this is generic Jund.
Okay.
No Sire of Insanity.
Okay.
Which is, I guess it's a change worth discussing, because, you know, when it came out, people were like, oh my god, Sire of Insanity makes Jund the best deck in the format, right? And then it was for a little while, and then it stopped being the best deck in the format, and now you don't even see Sire of Insanity that much anymore.
It's almost like that, you know, like what I think it happens with so many cards, but you know, Cavern of Souls is one that pops into mind, where everybody's playing Cavern, so nobody plays counter spells, so everybody stops playing Cavern because it's not doing anything.
Sure.
You know, a Crawworm
a little bit of the ebb and flow, exactly.
Is not an ideal. You know, nobody plays Crawworm.
Absolutely.
So why would you get excited?
The other thing is a 6-mana 6/4 is not really that impressive against Loxodon Smiter, Voice of Resurgence, War Leader's Helix. Even something like Veryl's matches up very well with Sire of Insanity.
If all my opponents top decked as well as Devin does, I would never want to play a Sire either.
Sure.
You know?
Fair enough.
I mean, he didn't top deck perfectly that game, but he did pretty well earlier.
The thing about this Jund Mirror is that it is almost certainly going to devolve into a top deck war.
Sure.
Unless a player can land a Planeswalker and keep it there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mean to make it sound like a disparaging thing that I'm saying. You know,
oh no,
he's top decking, but you know he bonfired for the win game 1.
And it's also
this is the way this deck is set up. It's just powerful cards.
Absolutely, it's powerful cards put together in a deck together, and so the top decks are going to be very powerful.
Right.
The other thing is that it's a skill-intensive top decking war. It really is. You have to be able to manage which elimination spells you use. As we saw there, Joey kept the Olivia for a very long time.
Yeah.
And he didn't use a bonfire that he top decked to instead use the Mizium Mortars to be able to save the bonfire for later.
Right.
It didn't end up being that relevant that game, but it could have been had Devin top decked Garrett Primal Hunter or Huntmaster of the Fells.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got a turn 1 duress from Devin.
This is likely going to snag
one of the 3 Farseek Huntmaster lands.
One of the 3 Farseeks is going to go away.
Yeah. So basically it's just Farseeks, 2 Farseeks and a Huntmaster are what's left spell-wise in Joey's hand. I have a feeling Joey may play Farseek on turn 2.
I think you may be right. Fortunately, Cabal Therapy not legal in this format for Mr. Mispagel, who is going to be able to play Farseek into Huntmaster of the Fells. I still think I might have shaved a Farseek in this matchup.
Maybe he did, and maybe all 3.
That might be.
We'll find out.
If I'm just an idiot, then you guys can tell me that on Twitter. Tweet into at SCG Live. Tell me if I'm just out of my mind.
So
or if
Joey just drew a bonfire. Obviously, turned his first draw. It does nothing.
Yep,
Devin has a bonfire in hand in addition to a Rakdos' return. He's going to Farseek here.
And so is Joey. Now, getting the mana advantage in this matchup has not mattered yet. Because all that's happened is play a threat, play an answer, play a hard to manage threat, play a good answer to that card. And so, I guess if I'm just wrong, let me know. But I think that I definitely, at least one Farseek I would have shaved in this matchup to try and bring in better answers, to be able to fight on different angles.
So there was Joey's turn 2 Farseek, and now Devin on his turn 3. We know he has Thragtusk. He just drew it. He's got a land. Don't know if he has a 4-drop right here.
He does. He has. I believe he has Huntmaster.
Okay.
We also haven't seen Slaughter games yet. My hunch is that it's. I mean, I would certainly bring it in here because if you're
just a Rakdos, he's a blightening you. That was what that was. Rakdos is a return for 2.
If we're trying to gain card advantage, you can do worse than turn 2 Rakdos return.
Yeah, or turn 3.
Turn 3.
Yeah.
For 2. I think I might have saved it.
Farseek and Bonfire from Joey.
So those Farseeks were taken out by discard spells. Only one of them. But you only really want one of them.
Yeah, I mean, you just want to get that early.
You want to
edge.
go from 2 to 4.
Yeah,
because there's nothing better to do on turn 2.
Huntmaster of the Fells comes down for Joey. He passes back. Devin top decks Garruk Primal Hunter. Devin with a 5th land in hand, but not. Does he have 3 green sources?
It has Overgrown Tomb,
Oh, that's Overgrown Tomb. Okay, that's what I didn't see. The one under the Wolf Run looked like another Wolf Run.
So that Garruk is going to have 4 counters on it, by the way. Just letting everyone know. There you go. He must have heard me.
Yep.
Joey, not as good. Does not have exactly what he needs here.
Yeah, the Bonfire would.
Although this Kessig Wolf Run is going to be able to take out this Garruk.
Yeah, so
it's going to trade with the Beast token. And there's yet another one.
The top deck. Yeah, he looked like he's about to play it and then decided, wait a minute, let me actually think about it.
I think that's still the best option.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to take a second to consider it rather than just flipping it right from the top of his deck onto the board.
No Bonfire for Joey. See if he comes in with the Wolf here. The Wolf would become a 4/2, trampling for 1, which isn't really good enough.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Joey's other answer is to play Olivia, which is also not good enough. Because Devin has an elimination spell in hand, I believe.
He's got well, I know he's got a Bonfire.
I think they're discussing whether or not Devin... Oh, okay, so Devin's second beast survived. I see. So Devin's other beast attacked, and so the beast blocked the Huntmaster, and the wolf trampled. So the second beast survived. So now Devin gets a second beast, which makes the attacking with the wolf moot, and he has to play the Olivia.
Okay.
Devin does not have a way to get rid of the Olivia at the moment.
So it wasn't. He didn't pump the Huntmaster with the Kessig Wolf Run. He trampled over with the wolf?
He trampled over with the wolf to kill the Garruk. Because if he hadn't done that, then the Garruk would have survived.
Okay, well, obviously he's going to pump with Wolf Run, right? Joey attacked Garruk, right?
Yes.
With the wolf and the Huntmaster.
And the Huntmaster.
Right.
The Huntmaster was blocked by the beast. And so the wolf became a 4/2 and dealt 4 damage to Garruk. Had he trampled with the Huntmaster, that would have become a 4/2, trampled over for 1, plus the 2.
Oh, I see.
No,
that makes
play
sense.
at 1.
Sense. Okay.
So 2 beasts are going to enter the red zone.
Wolf's going to
Wolf is going to block the beast and die to an Olivia trigger later in the turn.
Well, the beast is going to die to the Olivia trigger.
Sure. Devin deciding how he wants to proceed here. the drawing 3 cards off of Garrick while leaving Garrick in play, very good here, obviously. Being able to recoup some of that card advantage. He also made Joey discard 2 cards to his 1 card, so Devin is way up on card advantage.
Yeah, right now things are looking really, really good for Devin, but Olivia's going to take out
the beast,
the 1
become
beast.
a 4/4.
Yeah, get a little bit bigger.
And likely is going to attack this Garrick to death this turn.
Which is fine with Devin, because I think he's gotten some beasts, he's gotten some
at
cards
this point
out.
he's gotten his value out of the Garrick.
Yeah.
So we have Forest, Huntmaster of the Fells for Joey. He can gain control of this beast token if he wants.
So he attacks Garrick, kills that.
He can also cast Huntmaster of the Fells. I think that he would rather just gain control. That's what it's looking like to me.
Yeah, he passes the turn with the mana arranged as if he were to shoot and steal the beast.
Well, the beast has already been. Oh no, this beast has not
Yeah,
been
the other
shot.
beast was the one that was shot.
The other one was the vampire beast.
Right. And land go. Or no,
Not go. So
when he motioned
right.
his hand like that, it looked like a pass. But yeah, land.
So gain
attack.
control of the beast.
Obviously, Devin does not have an answer he wants to use.
He does not have an
on that
elimination
Huntmaster.
spell. He has a handful of cards, but I don't think he has a
One's
way.
a bonfire.
He has a bonfire, but bonfire is not going to be able to kill Olivia. So Joey attacking with the 5/5 Olivia and the 3/3 Beast. Seeing if Bonfire of the Damned is going to do it.
Top deck. I think it's a Huntmaster.
I think that is a Huntmaster on top. Devin deciding if he can survive against the Olivia. He needed to find something like a Putrefy there, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, handful of questions, not enough answers. And Joey Mispagel is going to move to 6-0.
With Olivia doing a lot of work there. You saw Devin had 2 Thride Tusks, and you're like, well, why didn't he play the Thride Tusks? Because Joey would have just stolen
Just taken
the
them,
Thride
yeah.
Tusks.